6 or 7 months.
You want to say something?
So October of 42, I went in the Navy, and I was in there for 4 years.
She's trying to talk.
And then you were stationed out in the Pacific?
Atlantic for 2 years and the Pacific for 2 years. I was a naval gunner on merchant ships.
Now
I volunteered for that.
You want to get in?
You volunteered
I
for it?
good on merchant ships. They treated us like kings.
You're trying to say something.
But it took the chance of being torpedoed. 1,810 armed guard went down with ships. They never made it home.
I know.
1,810.
Do you know
I
what
got
the
the
armed
record.
guard was?
I got the records of
just-
that in my.
They were sailors on merchant ships that
Yeah.
were shipping cargo.
These are
So
privately owned. Greg,
They needed gunners, you know.
Yeah.
Greg, let me explain. These are privately owned ships.
Merchant
Yeah.
ships
Cargo
had nothing to do
vessels.
with the Navy.
And
Yeah.
all we did was put 20 millimeters and 3-inch
ignoring
50s
you?
on the bow and the
Am I
stern,
ignoring you?
about
Yes,
12, 20
yes.
millimeters. And we used to ride in 100-ship convoys with about 10 destroyers checking for subs around us.
Yep.
That's what they used to do.
Yes, you are.
And I'm lucky I never got torpedoed. I came close a couple of times.
Yeah.
But 1,810 armed guard never made it home.
Yeah.
They got sunk.
Yep.
They got torpedoed.
It's crazy.
And then when the Germans gave up, they took us all off the merchant ships and they put us in the amphibious force. Now I'm in the regular Navy.
Yeah.
And,
When you signed up for the Merchant Marines, though, you signed up for...
I didn't sign up on the merchant.
You
I'm
volunteered.
in the Navy. No, I'm in the Navy.
Oh, you was in the Navy, yeah.
The Navy put 25 gunners on merchant ships to handle guns. That's what
Yeah.
armed guard means.
Yep.
To 20 millimeters and 3-inch 50s. There was a 3-inch 50 on the bow and one on the stern, and in between there was about 12 or 14 20 millimeters.
It's crazy.
See? So, and when the Germans gave up, they took us off and they put us into the amphibious force. And I went into the Pacific on an amphibious ship, cargo vessel, same sort of thing, but we had small amphibious boats on that.
Yeah.
I spent the last 2 years in the Pacific. I've been all over that damn Pacific. When MacArthur went back to Philippines, I was behind him. 2 weeks later, I went there at Lagayan Bay. I went there 2 weeks after he went in. I went behind him.
Wow.
As occupation. We delivered cargoes and troops and whatever.
That's crazy.
Don't forget, they had the draft back then.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
had a number. If they
Either
called
you got,
your number,
you had to go.
But
Unless
see,
you were
they
disqualified.
have my
You know,
record.
something wrong with
The
your
VA has my
eyesight or
record.
Yeah.
your
And they do
hearing.
everything they can for me. They do everything. No trouble at all. They got my discharge papers. They take a copy of it.
Yeah.
You just went up there on Friday.
They know just where I was, you
And
know?
it's
Yep.
sad to see all the
There's one thing I don't do is I don't
Hundreds.
bullshit. I tell the
Hundreds.
truth on everything.
hundreds of
I do.
veterans.
Yeah,
Greg,
I know.
I told the truth.
I know.
The
Hundreds
first
of
trip
every
we
time
were
go
out,
up.
we got attacked by a German sub. I'll tell you the story. We got attacked by a German sub. Well, it got the escorts dropped depth charges and forced it to the surface. His seams must have been open. He had to come up, and he came up behind the convoy.
Yeah.
And he was behind the convoy. The minute they got up, the Germans came out of the hatch and they went to the Blaukamm and they took a shot at the American. The American destroyer was going through them, figured they were giving up. They were never going to outrun a sub. Subs do 35 miles an hour.
Yeah.
That's what they do. And so they hit the bridge of the destroyer and they killed a couple of guys on there. So the American destroyer turned off, and we had a British Corvette in that convoy. British Corvettes, they didn't like them because they didn't have much of a draft below the surface. See, we went 35 feet below the surface while we had cargo. The British Corvettes didn't have very little draft. Their torpedoes would go under them.
Yep.
So they got on each side of it, and they start lobbing shells into the sub. And when they missed, there would be a splash, a white splash. When they hit, it would be a black splash when they hit it.
Wow.
Then the American destroyer rammed it sideways and sunk the son of a gun.
Wow.
Sunk it, yeah.
Ignoring you.
That's crazy.
That was one of those German captains who was dying hard for that Hitler bastard.
Yep.
You know, die hard. They're crazy
Yeah.
to die for a gun. Just like the guy that went into the Twin Towers. He said, Allah is great. Who the hell was Allah? He's nobody than you and I. He was only a man.
Yep.
He wasn't worth 2 cents. They have Syrian law. that they believe in killing infidels.
I know.
And Christians. That's all they believe. So anyway,
You're getting fidgety, huh?
when they
Getting
sunk that,
fidgety
about
again.
15 Germans jumped off it, and,
Yeah.
and they took them as prisoners. They took them as prisoners.
Really?
See?
Whoops.
But I was in a 100-ship convoy, and
That's
they
crazy.
came up behind the convoy,
You
like
didn't
over
want
there.
that.
And
Yeah.
I had them in my sight when they were
You
coming
didn't
out.
want that.
And I had a gunnery officer by the name of Gleason. I said, I'm going to stop them from getting to their gun. He wouldn't let me shoot. He said, don't fire, Carmen. He said, let the escorts take care of them. They know what they're doing. So I could have stopped them from getting to their bow gun. That
Yeah.
always bothered me. I could have stopped them from getting to that gun because I had them right in my sights. You know?
Yep.
That burned me up. It troubled me all my life. It bothered me
Wow.
that they let that crowd fire at the American destroyer.
Yep.
Now,
Anyway.
did you know there's a submarine in Chicago?
Oh, really?
Yeah,
The German
the German sub that
submarine.
they
Oh yeah,
captured.
that
But
got
they
closest,
captured.
right? Yeah.
They captured over the
There was a
over
couple-
the African coast. They
Jenny-
captured.
Jenny saw it.
went to see it.
When she was
I
in
told
Chicago
Jenny,
to visit her
she
friend.
paid $9 to go into that museum in
Yeah, they towed
Chicago,
her all the way from
and she went to see it.
across the ocean.
That was captured over
Nobody
by
knew
an
about
aircraft.
It.
By
It was a
what?
secret. It was a secret.
That was captured by an aircraft carriers of ours off the African coast. They captured it and they brought it to the Bahamas.
Oh wow.
And they told the crew, don't tell anybody we have that sub. They told their crew.
Because they were going
You'll
to
be
learn
court
everything
martialed
about
when
it,
you-
right?
Yeah. So the Germans thought it was sunk. They never knew that
They got
submarine-
taken.
Yeah.
They never knew.
That's probably how we
during
learned
the
a
whole
lot of
war,
stuff
they
from
never-
it, probably during the
They
war.
never knew what happened to that sub. After the war, they took it up to the Canada, down to Lawrence Sea, when they brought it to Chicago as a relic of
Yeah.
the Second World War. It's still there.
Wow.
You can go see it. If you go to Chicago, you
she's
can see
getting
that
fidgety.
German
That's
sub.
Crazy.
You can see it.
Yeah.
She doesn't want.
I mean,
the
I don't
fire
bullshit.
anymore.
And I told Jenny, go see it. And she went. You ask Jenny if she
Yeah.
saw that German sub in Chicago. She'll tell you. She paid $9 to go into that museum to see it.
We'll have to go
Should we
see
turn
it.
off the light?
Yeah, she told. She
We'll have
saw
to
it.
go.
Yeah, let me turn it off. It might be.
I got a
in
lot
your
of
eyes.
history behind me, but I don't talk about half of it.
Well, you should because the other people don't know what went on.
I
The only
know.
thing I'm interested in, what are you doing?
It's too bright in her eyes.
On the baby?
Yep.
Well, put it on dim.
No.
We're gonna have to.
I
to.
gotta see what I'm
dim it.
picking.
No.
We're gonna have to schedule a time that we can film you, and we'll have to talk to you about all your experiences
Right.
during the war and
Record it
everything.
all.
Are you kidding? I've had a lot of experience.
I know. Well, we're gonna have to
You
record
wanna
it so we
I
can
told
so we
him
can
he
remember.
should've kept the journal.
What's
He
the
knows all the
difference?
ships
Who
he
the
was
hell
on.
cares? Who the hell
I
cares?
care.
History. These are your grandchildren. They gotta
Who
pass
the
it
hell cares?
down. That's how history is done. If nobody
So we can
talks
tell
about
Mia
it-
about you.
I mean, that's the trouble. They don't teach these things in the schools
know.
anymore.
No, I know.
They don't teach civics.
When Roosevelt died,
Civics.
I was going through the Panama Canal in April. About April 20th is when he died, and I was going through the Panama Canal into the Pacific on a Navy vessel,
Yep.
an AKA. I got
Yeah.
a picture of that
Sweetie.
in the
Really?
then the AKA. it's
Do you have
somewhere.
pictures like of like you in the army? I mean, the Navy and everything.
Yeah,
Do you have
I
like?
got pictures, I got
Yeah.
pictures of the different ships I was on.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because I didn't know him until after he got
Got
out of
out
the
of
service.
service,
so I didn't
yeah.
know him until.
but those were privately
Turn
owned
the light a little
cargo
bit.
vessels.
Cargo vessels that
It's,
they
It's a
volunteered to
funny
go
light
into the
because
Navy
it's not the,
and
a
fight.
normal light
If it
bulb.
doesn't work, it's okay.
Put the light on a little bit.
It's
all
one
right.
of these.
Yeah, it's an
I see.
LED, so
Just
it,
Put it down
Yeah,
dim.
you can't dim it too much.
Dim it down a little bit.
No, it's
It's
fine.
an LD light,
It's fine.
and you can't dim them that much.
It's fine.
So now I gave you 20 for your work.
Yes, it's
But
fine.
you're going to buy a piggy bank and put it in her bag.
Yes,
Now,
we
they
will.
got-
And from time to time, I'll send you more if I'm still alive.
Okay.
And we'll keep filling the bank up.
All right.